The Seattle Seahawks looking at Alabama offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb. Could he leave Tuscaloosa to go to the NFL? We're going to talk about that. And how about Kayden Proctor? Iowa, self-reporting. Maybe some violations there. Some of us thought that. We're going to talk about that. Welcome to the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Make sure that you like and follow. Give us a thumbs up. That's a way of saying roll tide. Let's get this thing started. There he is. What do you say, everybody, with Big Elmo? I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. And, man, there's so much to talk about right now. But good to see you, my friend. And you know what? I want to start right away with this right here. And we're going to talk about Kayden Proctor. But let me talk about Ryan Grubb. And when you go out and you hire the best of the best, sometimes other teams have their eyes on the guys that you have on your roster. And Ryan Grubb apparently is a candidate for the offensive coordinator job for the Seattle Seahawks. Man, tell me that it's not true, Brett. Tell me he's going to stay.
If I looked in my crystal ball, I don't know. I need one of those magic 8 balls that we used to have. Like, hey,
8 balls.
And anyway, I'll shake it up and I'll be like, okay. I don't know. There's a couple of factors here that I think of. The guy's 47 years old. He has no NFL experience whatsoever, okay? He comes from Washington, obviously, with Coach DeBoer. What if he has a family and they get here and they look around and they say, we don't really like it here? That may be a factor. He could be one of those West Coast guys that may be wanting to go home. And he might want to flirt around a little bit with the NFL coaching experience. But it's hard for me to imagine him leaving Alabama after such a short time here. And plus all of the work that he has done. And it has to be exciting to arrive in Tuscaloosa, one of the, if not the premier program in the country, and hit the ground running. And he's been shaking hands, visiting recruits, talking to head football coaches, the high school coaches. You would think that he wouldn't leave, but never say never. I would like to think that he would stay in Tuscaloosa, because if he doesn't, that's going to put us in a very odd predicament heading into trying to implement the offense and the defense after the recruiting period's over later in the month. It's going to put DeBoer in a very, very bad situation if he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about it myself. The obviously the good news is for Alabama is that there's other candidates. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to get the job. I mean, when you have the best of the best, this is something that you deal with. They're also talking to Tampa Bay, or they're actually talking to Tanner Engstrom of the Lions, their pass game coordinator. They've also, they're going to look at other guys basically and see what fits them. If I'm Ryan Grubb, it comes down to this. Do you want to be in the NFL? Or do you want to be in college? And if you want to be in the NFL, then this is obviously the right choice. You go to the NFL and you're there, But if you want to be in college, if you want to be a college head coach, you come to Alabama, you turn this offense around. Not to say that the offense was bad last year, but the offense hasn't been what we saw it in 2020 since 2020. It's kind of digressed, and he's the perfect guy. And I just really think that it would have to be one heck of a deal for him to leave Kalen DeBoer, who's his guy, to go to the NFL. Now, with that said, this could be one of those opportunities for him to get paid more. And what Kalen DeBoer is going to find out about Alabama is that when you need more money for coaches, it's there, right? If they get offered a job and they're going to leave, hey, you got the old stash cash that you can slide his way to make sure that he sticks around. I honestly, man, my gut feeling is that he stays. I know that it's the NFL, and I know that he was just in Seattle, and I'm sure that it was comfortable there. But I think Alabama will match and surpass whatever offer the NFL is throwing his way. And I just feel like with everything going on right now, Alabama and their administration knows that this is really important to keep him on staff, and they'll make sure that they pay him the money that he needs to stay. If it's not about money, there's nothing you can do about it. But if it comes down to money, Alabama will make sure that he's got the dough to stick.
Yeah. And let's remember, all these reports, everyone is saying he is under consideration. He hasn't, to my knowledge, interviewed for the job.
Right.
Obviously. And of course, they have a new coach, Coach McDonald, Mike McDonald, and he's trying to put his staff together there at Seattle. And he was asked by the Seattle Times if he's looking for necessarily assistant coaches with NFL experience, and he said that's not nearly top of the list. So he would welcome in someone like Grubb, but I'm with you. I think he sticks around. Look, these two guys have been together, unless he's just unhappy with something. These two guys have been together since 2007. You know how long that is? That's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah, so we'll find out. We'll keep an eye on that. But it did make me kind of take a step back when I saw that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, man, that's honestly, selfishly, it's the last thing we need is Ryan Grubb to leave. I mean, I want this Alabama staff to come in intact and get things running. One guy that's not going to be there, but you know what? There was a lot of talk about this guy. And according to Alphonse Taylor, Shank, and me, Mick Gillispie, we felt like Iowa contacting him during the season was wrong. According to Greg McElroy, the host of a show in Birmingham and on ESPN, he didn't think that it was tampering, right? A lot of controversy about this. Well, apparently Iowa felt like they had to do something to kind of protect themselves, and they reported a self-violation involving impermissible contact. That was my point from the beginning, Brett. That's what I've been saying, Big Elmo. You can't call a guy during the season on another team and rub his shoulders when things aren't going well. Oh, and then he transfers to you. It's like going to somebody's having problems with their spouse, and then you go in there, or somebody else goes in, and then they end up dating that person. Oh yeah, right. Like it's so obvious. That's why there's rules set up. Oh yeah, let me backtrack, man. We don't have any rules anymore. It's always Tennessee's fault. That's what I know. You can go in and pay $1 million to steal the best player on another football team if you're Ohio State, or you can take 5 guys from another roster if you're Florida State. But if you're Tennessee, you're in trouble. And Iowa self-reporting this. I'm guessing that it's going to be a slap on the wrist, because a lot of people really don't think it's that big of a deal. And to be honest with you, I don't even know what a big deal or a little deal is anymore, because there really aren't any rules. But it at least tells you that Iowa knows that what they did was wrong. Yeah,
of course, you're talking about Alabama tackle, former Alabama tackle, Kayden Proctor. We talked about this when it happened. I think you and I did a show together, and we talked about it. No, you can't call in the middle of the season when things just aren't going your way and coddle a player and say it'll be okay, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he goes back home to Iowa. And maybe he was unhappy in Tuscaloosa. Maybe he was homesick That's fine. That's no big deal to me. If you want to transfer, you're free to go wherever you want to transfer to. That's fine. It's a free country. But the tampering part, and obviously there's something there if they self-reported this. We were talking about the NCAA rules. Hell, who knows what the rules are anymore? It's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
We don't know what the rules are anymore. But obviously, this is something that concerns Iowa, and it concerns them enough to self-report. They'll probably get a slap on the wrist. I don't think it's anything that you would get thrown under the jail for, but still, you don't do that. But like you say, there's so much stuff going on that we see every day, like the $1 million come play here, or let's get 5 of their players and get them here. And it's right there out in the open. What's the rules anymore?
Yeah, right. Look, I get it.
College football. What is college football anymore?
Right,
I don't know.
I don't even know, man. I get it. You know, some people played at Alabama. They probably would have rather played at Texas. You know, a lot of us love Alabama and would die to wear that Alabama uniform. And bottom line is this: is that there's no rules anymore. You know, and I get that. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you even going to punish these guys, like, for anything? You know, I'm so confused of what season that we didn't just see Ohio State, Florida State, you know, all of these places. Mississippi's coach is, you know, running around town, taking pictures and making a big deal about the fact got one guy in secondary to transfer. Like, it's such a absolute Wild West right now. You know, how is this different than anything else? Nothing's going to happen to them. They're, you know, it's not big a deal. If you think that I'm saying it is, you're wrong. But what I'm saying is that it should be. It should be legal. It's wrong, but no one's going to do anything about it. So, you know, who cares? I mean, it's not going to amount to a whole lot. And honestly, even if you really cheated in this, Brett, I don't even know that there's any governing body that really has any kind of say over any of this anyway.
Right. Send in Sheriff Saban. I'm telling you, what they need to do is they need to reorganize everything, put this guy in charge of college football and let him run it and run it the right way and get college football back to where it needs to be. Listen, we've talked about NIL on this show several times, and I can already tell you, if in case you're just joining us, I don't like the NIL as it's structured now. Right. Sure, I want the players to have some money, but Mick, I'll tell you how crazy this NIL stuff is and how much it seeps down. I do play-by-play for a junior college. Well, I was talking to the coach the other day, and he said, you know, this NIL money is seeping down in, you know, we could do that in junior college now. And I'm thinking,
right,
what? Junior college? You know, these
crazy,
are community
man.
colleges. And they're going to allow them to buy players, you know, or whatever. I mean, I don't know what that amounts to. You know, it's like you mentioned, it's the Wild West, and we've talked about it before. And people are probably sick and tired of hearing me say it's just the Wild West, but it is. This is just totally out of control. But the tampering part, I agree with you. It's a no-no. They should have, and they did the right thing. They self-reported and said, you know what, we did wrong.
Right, and nothing's going to happen, so it's not that big of a deal. But at least they did that, and whatever. All right, guys, so what I want to tell you is that the show is presented by newlifeart.com. Promo code BAMA, that's 15% off regularly priced item. You want to look like you've got the, Daniel Moore, the New Life Art Museum at your house like I do in my studio, and you can do that. Use that code, though, Tailgate. There's a ton of great stuff there. And we've got to celebrate Nick Saban and you need to get that stuff on the wall because Kalen DeBoer is going to have prints coming up real soon when he shocks the world next year and wins the national championship. But load up on the Nick Saban stuff now. Bama Tailgate promo code at newlifeart.com. The other thing I want to tell you is if I mention this guy's name, Catfish, he's going to come swimming at me hard and be upset. Brett, we got to talk about him. I told him that you're buying a new house and you're going to use him. He's helped over 10,000 families get into new homes, investment consultant, Airbnb expert, and that is chadwickanderson.com. And you can use the little, just put your phone right there up next to that little code thing and boom, you'll be there as well. But I promise you guys, he helped me and he really did a good job and he'll do the same thing for you. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will talk to you guys again tomorrow. And a heart from Key West, Brett, where at 4:30 this morning, the Roosters were crowing. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.